While researching a topic, a student has taken the following notes. Megalodon, meaning big tooth, is a close relative of the great white shark that roamed the ocean more than 20 million years ago and went extinct 3 million years ago. Recently, researchers used chemical measurements of the fossilized megalodon teeth to compare their diet to that of other marine animals. They discovered that the megalodons and their direct ancestors were likely 2 levels up the food chain above the great whites. Earlier, scientists believed that the megalodons were at similar level on the food chains to great white sharks. This means that the megalodon would have eaten creatures that ate the great white sharks, prompting scientists to call the megalodon a hyperapex predator. The student wants to emphasize why the scientists call the megalodon a hyperapex predator. So, which choice effectively uses information from the notes to accomplish that goal? So, let's take a look at the goal here. The goal is to emphasize why, or the goal is to emphasize the reason students call the megalodon a hyperapex predator. Right? Let's take a look at the options, see which option talks about the reason scientists call this as a hyperapex predator. So option A, the methodology used by the researchers was to compare the diets of other marine animals and the megalodon by using chemical measurements of the teeth of the megalodon that have been fossilized. Now option A just describes the methodology used by scientists. It doesn't give us the reason scientists call the megalodon a hyperapex predator. So A can be eliminated. Moving on to option B, you have, though the megalodon became extinct about 3 million years ago, it was one of the fiercest animals to have ever lived. Now again, option B might be true, but again, that's not the reason scientists call the megalodon a hyper apex predator. So B can be eliminated. Moving on to option C, you have, contradictory to the previous belief that white sharks and megalodons were on the same level in the food chain, the study concluded that the megalodon was 2 levels above the great white shark. Now, option C clearly answers the question about why scientists call the megalodon a hyperapex predator. Right, from the student notes also, it's clearly evident in the results that the results have prompted the scientists to call the megalodon a hyperapex predator. Right, so towards the last 2 points, you could see that earlier they believed that the megalodons were at the same level, right? This means that the megalodon would have eaten the creatures that ate the white sharks, right? So this is why scientists were, or this is could be the reason the scientists call the megalodon a hyperapex predator, because it could have eaten the creatures that ate the white sharks, or they ate the great whites, right? So option C gives us the reason. Let's keep C on hold. Moving on to option D, you have, the discovery of the scientists and the method used to derive the results of the creature are accurate and authentic. Now D is irrelevant to the student notes and it's clearly out of context. So D is eliminated. The correct answer for this question should be option C.